Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name's Benson. What's yours? I'm gonna make ranchero sauce, which is like a spicy blended salsa, I guess you could call it. But it's meant for like huevos rancheros. It's like a sauce you put on eggs, and it is a spicy sauce. So this is a bigger recipe. It's like a double. But what I'm using is 4 jalapenos. And I've got 6 cloves of garlic. I have 6 of these brown small tomatoes. It's a different style of tomato. It is called a chocolate covered tomato. It's crap, I gotta edit out. It's a Kumado, and it's just a simply unique brown tomato. And it's got like it's not as sweet of a flavor as a regular tomato. And then I'm using 1 beefsteak tomato. So again, that's 4 jalapenos, 6 of these little tomatoes, 1 beefsteak tomato, a fresh poblano pepper, fresh red poblano pepper. Oh, it smells so good. And 6 cloves of garlic. That all goes into a pot. Boop, boop, boop. With just enough water to cover it, and you're gonna boil it about 10 minutes or until you see the tomato skins start to crack so you can peel them. Once that happens, I'll bring you back because we gotta I'll get it going, get it boiled, get it done, and let it cool, and I'll come back and show you the next few steps. Also, you need 2 whole white onions. So when you do the onions, don't decore them, don't cut the roots. Cut from the top down through the roots so that it holds it together. And because we're gonna scoop these out to blitz them later, and that just makes it easier versus having to scoop out the little piece of onions. All of this stuff goes into the pot whole. The onions just kind of cutting up to kind of save you a little bit of space and time later. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that though. Hang on. Alright, so what I did was I just cut the bottom off the onion, but I left the root portion intact. And so I'm going to do it like this. So see, there's the root there. I want to go in half and keep as much of the root intact as possible. Like that. And then we're just gonna peel the outside off, so. And then with that on, because we're gonna come back and cut this off later, with that on, it's gonna go straight in the pot, but I'm gonna wash these first, so. A bad spot. Just a little bad spot in the skin, so we just sliced it off. Let's wash these and turn it off. Everything's in the pot. We're gonna throw our onions in there. Get them in there. My last tomato I missed. And we're gonna put a little bit more water to just kind of cover these, so. And then we're gonna get it on the stove to boil for 10 minutes. Okay, for when this stuff gets done boiling, you can go ahead and prep another 5 cloves of garlic. And you want some dried chilies. So they're just dried, they're smoke dried, so they have like a good smoky flavor to them. And you want some dried poblanos as well. I'm gonna leave the seeds in these when I chop them up. The ones I'm boiling, I'm gonna pull the seeds out of. Leaving the seeds in means it's going to be spicier, so that's why I'm not gonna leave all the seeds in. So, but these are going to give that poblano, that ranchero sauce, a really beautiful smoky flavor. And then if it's not enough smoky flavor, you can always add dry paprika. But we're waiting on that stuff to boil so we can get it ready. Once it's done boiling, then we'll get the tomatoes into some ice water to help us peel them better. So, bring you back. Alright, so our stuff has successfully boiled till basically the tomatoes kind of pop. You see the skin crack. You're gonna pull them out, peel the skin off the tomatoes, core the tomatoes, and then everything goes in a blender. I also chopped the roots off the onions. I removed the stem and cored the jalapenos and the other poblano peppers, and then scooped out all the garlic that was in there. It went into the blender, plus the 6 fresh cloves of garlic. I chopped up the dried poblanos and the dried chilies that went in there, put a few spoonfuls of seeds in there with it. So, and then I put you don't have to do this, but I put a teaspoon of cumin seeds And so that's kind of what it looks like, all kind of buried. It's a nice little rainbow color going on in the blender. So I'm gonna get this blender going, blend it all up, and then it's gonna go back in the pot to cook for about 10 minutes to kind of reduce down some of the excess water. So let me get the blender going. So now that we have our blended mixture, we're gonna run it through the strainer just to make sure we get any like seeds that didn't get chopped up. Whoa, don't get on my camera. That smells nice. Let's give us a wooden spoon here to kind of help get it through. Alright, so this is why we run it through the strainer first. Now, I did end up dumping mine back into the blender, running and pulsating it once I got some of the excess water that went down in there. Not water, the tomato juice and stuff. And I ran it through the blender again just to make sure I got as much as I could blended. But see here, it's like, it's seeds that the blender didn't catch, or it's like tomato veins and strings and some of the skin that maybe didn't come off properly. Some of the pepper skin that didn't blend, but that's why you run it through the strainer. And of course, make sure once you run it through the strainer that you scrape all the good stuff off the bottom of your strainer, and you should be left over with this. It almost looks like tomato sauce, but don't let it fool you because it is spicy. Now, if you want to make sure that this isn't too spicy for you, you can cut back on the amount of peppers. You could use sweet peppers instead of spicy peppers. Make sure you remove the seeds and all the veins, which on the peppers I cooked, I did remove that stuff. The only thing I put in there as far as seeds and veins goes was the dried peppers. I left the veins in those, and I actually used about a tablespoon of the seeds from that one. Actually, I think I used more than a tablespoon because I like mine really spicy. But I did already pre-salt this. I put a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of cumin seeds into the blender before everything else went in. So when the fresh garlic and the chopped dried peppers went in, but I'm going to add some more salt because I have tasted it. It's got a good amount of heat, but it's not so overly powerful heat. It's got good flavor still. You can still taste the smokiness in the peppers and the tomatoes, but it needs a little bit of salt to kind of enhance everything. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to cook this for about 10 minutes till it reduces down and we get rid of some of that excess water that came out of the vegetables as they blended. So I'll show you what the final product looked like. And then I'll also, when we have dinner tonight, we're having Huevo Rancheros, which is eggs and this sauce. Usually it's on like a corn tortilla with cheese and stuff. We might have some tortillas. No, we're out of tortillas. So I think for the kids, we'll probably put it on toast or rice, and we'll just eat ours with just the eggs and the sauce and the cheese. But I'll show you what that looks like once it's all done as well. So something that dawns on me is I don't think I ever eat or taste any of the stuff that I cook on camera. So for all you know, I'm just making crap up. Real quick before I taste this, I cannot strain enough to you that when you're making this, be very careful that you don't touch your eyes and your mouth and stuff, because those pepper juices are very powerful. Like even now, this stuff is just cooking and like leaning over, stirring the pot. Like some of it's hitting me in the face and my eyes are starting to water a little bit. But I add a little bit more salt and a little bit more powdered cumin to this one. And it's starting to boil now. But let's go in here. I didn't have anything that was like a crack or anything, so I've got some on a pork rind. I just melted that pork rind. Oh, yeah. It's so good. If you're super adventurous, this makes a great tomato soup now that I think about it. Yeah. Put more tomatoes in it and be like a spicy tomato soup. But this is just basically like it's almost like a taco sauce or like a Mexican sauce that you put on top of stuff. So it's so good. And now I just realized it makes a great dipping sauce for pork rinds. Hot, not like, I mean, it's spicy hot, but like it was like starting to boil. Oh, that's good stuff, y'all. All right, so it's bubbling away. Just so you know, I'm not trying to kill anybody. Allie tasted it. How was it?
This is sweet.
It's a little sweet to it. Give it a go, baby. Give your honest opinion on how spicy it is. I don't think it's that spicy at all. And Allie hates spicy stuff, and Jordan's not a big fan of it.
Hey, I'm a bigger fan of spicy food than she is.
That's true. Oh, here.
Spicy.
Yeah, it's not a pork rind. It's all I got.
I mean, we're gonna eat it on egg.
Ah, that's warm.
Well, yeah, it's boiling. You saw the steam. Even the camera saw the steam coming off of it. How spicy? No, it's got just enough spice to kind of make it enjoyable.
Yeah,
It'll be good on eggs.
it's not spicier than like buffalo sauce.
Right.
It's like almost as bad.
I don't
That-
have anything for you.
She's talking to Wolfgar. That's a key thing when I say I make spicy food. I make spicy food that has a spice to it, but it's still enjoyable. I don't want it to be just hot to be hot to like try and top some record. I want it to be enjoyable while adding that heat to it, that kick to it. So that's what this does. And I'll try and get a full recipe written below. So clearly we have dogs that belong to us. I cleaned up some of the pepper juices and stuff from the counter and didn't think about it, so I threw the rag by the washing machine. I turn around and the puppy is sitting there with the rag, like chewing on the rag, trying to eat the pepper juices off the rag. So I guess he's in the right place. Chris and I just finished watching Bumblebee. You don't realize that there's probably like an hour and a half between some of the cooking clips. But we watched Bumblebee and it was good. It's probably my favorite Transformer movie so far.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're trying to reboot this entire series using Bumblebee. And I guess we're gonna watch 911 now. I've never heard of it. I guess it's the pilot and people are talking about it, so she wants to see it. And then I'm gonna watch something else. I don't remember what else. Oh, The Act. I'm gonna show you Allie's drawing. That's there we go. So Allie drew this. It's supposed to be her as an anime character, I guess.
Her name is Aishi.
Her name is Aishi. She's from My Hero Academia or something. So she drew that.
Excuse me.
Pretty good little artist.
Wait, I also drew another character that's actually from My Hero Academia.
I don't know where she's going now. So, anyways, dogs are eating dinner. I'm gonna start the eggs soon. Oh, this is her boyfriend or something?
No, it's not.
The anime character she has a crush on. I don't know.
Jordan keeps picking on me, calling it my boyfriend. That's it.
I'm gonna go watch TV with Kristen and then we'll start dinner in a little bit. So, dinner is ready. So basically, we're having Huevos Rancheros, which is just a fried egg with yolk. We didn't have any tortillas, so I put the kids on toast. Mine and Kristen are on toast. So basically, I built it. I got junk all in my hand. It's toast, black beans, egg, sauce, and then we have sour cream, avocado, whatever you want to go with it, a tomato. But then I went to a farmer's market today, we all did, and there was a guy there selling rainbow char, which is not normally something you get in the South, and I like it. But what's funny was the guy was like, I was like, oh, you've got char? And he's like, you're not from around here, are you? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're not from around here. And I was like, no, I was born and raised here in Northeast Florida. And he's like, oh, most Southerners don't know what chard is. They see rainbow chard and they're like, oh, that's pretty, but they don't know what to do with it. I'm like, I just love to cook. I love to experiment and stuff like that. And he's like, okay, that makes more sense. So what I did though is I bought the rainbow char. We had some leftover chicken last night. And I shredded what the chicken was left over, and I dumped it, the rainbow char, some some green onions, and a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter and garlic, salt, pepper, and stirred it up. I kind of wish I'd used less chicken so we had more of the char there, but I'm going to show you my plate. It's kind of a mess, but... So, there's my egg. Again, mine's not on toast, but the black beans are under the egg. There's our ranchero sauce. That's a tomato that I threw in the oven and let it char a little bit and got the skin off. And then here's the rainbow char chicken mix with some sour cream to kind of go on whatever I want to dip it on. But there it is. That's dinner. That's what the kids look like, so you can see the toast under there. But anyways, we're going to go eat now.